Hello. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So, I would like to know what is it that you all are expecting from this session initially. So, if you could just drop in some messages. Now, before that, what I could do is give some brief about myself, and then you'll get a certain idea as to what I do, who I am, and what is it that you can expect from this particular session. And I would love it if you guys go ahead and put your suggestions in the messages so that I get to read them and I basically understand what is it that you all are looking for. So my name is Priyanka. I am the founder of Machine Learning India. Some of you might already know about it. We are pretty big on social media. So, and if you do not, you can go up and check on Instagram at ml.india, or you could go up on LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever. I mean, we are a community of about 3 to 4 lakh people currently here in India and across the globe. And what we do is essentially try to create awareness about upcoming technologies, what is new, and new in the market basically with respect to newer technologies coming in every single day. So it has been a great journey so far. I graduated just last year actually. So I completed my bachelor's degree in information technology. That's how it looks like on paper. But most of my college life was invested in experimenting with business, with startups, and with machine learning, because that was one subject in IT, the only subject in IT I was really passionate about. But that does not mean I was any lesser interested in the others. I mean, I was sort of good at many, but machine learning particularly caught my interest because I saw that there was potential in this technology, and I saw how much organizations were valuing data and how valuable data was becoming day by day. So that is how it all started. In the first year, I came across an amazing video on YouTube which talked about artificial intelligence and neural networks and so on and so forth. So here, what happened is I got excited about it. And the thought of creating intelligent machines, the thought of creating machines that can think by themselves, come up with solutions to problems was very fascinating to me. And I just wanted to get going, learn more about how it is that I can, sort of create an intelligent machine that could be my replica and could do the things I told it to do, be an assistant, or let's say get a few tasks done, or be able to learn something very well, be able to process certain types of information very well. So that was the thought I had in my mind, and honestly, I was just awestruck by the potential of the human brain, and I was awestruck by what we can do if we be able to create such brains by ourselves artificially. So that was my motivation, and honestly, I had no long-term plans to stay in this field in the first year itself. I was only exploring, like, I sort of explore all the fields and I love to know more about things. So I started lurking with a few courses on YouTube, with a few videos and everything. There were a couple of NPTEL courses uploaded there, so I went up to one and then I started taking it up. Okay, and this course was based on neural networks and neural networks applications and so on and so forth. Now, I had no clue how to proceed, so I got started with the course, and it turned out that it involved a lot of complex math, and it involved a lot of differentiation, calculus optimization, and the algorithms were like pretty heavy on my brain back then. It was very difficult, but like I said, I was really determined to get the course completed and just start building something by myself. And because this was only my first year, it was kind of funny because no programming background at all, and no way to implement all that you're learning at all, and no mathematical background at all. So it was all a mess, but I kept going. There were a lot of times when I took up the course, and then I had to go back to Wikipedia, read stuff, come back to the course, and again get stuck somewhere. Go back to Wikipedia or Google, get the doubt cleared, come back to the course, and it took me around 3 to 4 months to just finish that entire course on YouTube. I think it's still up there. It's by Professor S.N. Gupta, IIT Kharagpur, by NPTEL. It's called Neural Networks and Applications. I think it's by the Department of Electrical Engineering. It's amazing. It's a little boring. I mean, not a very fancy course. It's actually a little bit old, but I mean, I was good to go. That was back in 2015, so it was all fine. So that was how I started, and then after completion of the course, I had this big question: "Ki ab kya?" Like, what am I going to do with this right now? So how was I going to implement all that? And the only answer to that particular problem at that particular time I could think of was learn Python. Okay, so I had no programming background. All I knew was C, C++, because that's obviously covered in our college curriculum in the first year. And that was all. So I started learning Python, initially towards the beginning of the second year. And I focused on Python for data science particularly. I started learning libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, scikit-learn, Seaborn, so on and so forth. So that turned out to be a good thing. I started making smaller projects of my own. And even before learning Python, because I was very acquainted with C and C++, I actually went on to creating neural networks in C and C++. I mean, nobody does that really, but I did it. And you would not believe me, but I actually created a multi-layer perceptron neural network in C++ using vectors and stuff. So it is very tough, and you can sort of write that code in about 15 lines right now. But back then, it was a 500-line code in C++. So it was very tough, but I just kept going. And by the end of the second year, I was doing some really great projects. And I knew what I had gone through, that is, no proper guidance, no mentorship, nothing on those lines. And I knew the mistakes I made, the time I wasted. So I thought it was very important for me to convey the message to other people around me which were trying to pursue the same field. So what I did was I started putting up stuff, all that I was doing, with respect to my projects and everything, on my own Instagram and LinkedIn, okay, personal Instagram and LinkedIn. Then I realized, oh my God, so people that are following me, they come from diverse backgrounds, and they come from different, academic disciplines, right? And not everybody might understand whatever I'm doing. Not everybody is interested in coding and stuff like that, right? Some people used to just ignore it. Some people really commented, asked more about it. But then I thought, okay, let's do one thing. Let's sort of make a different page altogether for all of this. And I knew it would benefit a lot of people. And back then, I wasn't really thinking about the numbers, but I just wanted to deliver as much value as I could. And I just wanted to share whatever I was doing with the world, whatever projects I was making, because it was fascinating to me. Like literally, one of the first projects I worked on involved image captioning, and basically I used to upload an image, and then the neural network used to sort of come up with a caption or understand what's present in the image, and then come up with a good quote or something related to that particular image. So it looks so fascinating to me that I used to take screenshots and I used to post it. So now I find all of that immature, but I think it's a part of it's literally a part of my journey, and it's beautiful. So I started sharing all that content on a page called at ml.india, and it's still online. It's still up there. So that's how ML India started, as an Instagram page, I would say. And since then, nobody knew what it was going to look like. I realized how many people were wanting that guidance, were wanting that mentorship, and were looking out for good resources. When I started sharing that content, in about 6 months, we had 10,000 followers. And now in just 2.5 years, we've got 3 to 4 lakhs people looking up to our content every single day, and 15 to 20 lakhs people, looking up to our content every single month. So it's a big thing right now, right? It's a very content-focused organization, and I'm extremely proud of what I've been able to accomplish by just doing something I was passionate about and spreading a word about it on social media. So that is the power. And I mean, being good at machine learning is one thing, but being able to create a business model out of it and being able to really run a company is completely a different thing, right? You can learn different things, but it's not necessary that you will be able to commercialize them very effectively. So that was one skill I had, and I was very good with social media, was very good with communication skills. I knew what kind of material to put up, in order to attract a lot of audiences. I could write amazing marketing copies, and I also had worked as a graphic designer for some point of time in my college. So all that experience really accumulated, and I put all of that experience in whatever I was doing. So just about in a few days, a few months, I would say, we had racked up a really good audience online, and we knew that people are interested. So I started taking it seriously. I stopped calling it a page, and I started calling it a community, right? A community wherein a lot of people can join, a lot of people can learn from each other, can share their experiences, ideas, so on and so forth. So that safe place, for machine learning, that is what I wanted to build. And I'm still in the process of doing that. So I started calling it a community, started really focusing on the content strategy, started focusing on social media, on digital strategies, on how to maximize the reach and how to build up an audience and be able to cater to the needs of that particular audience. Very delighted to share with you all that we started conducting events online and even offline, some successful events in 2019. Every event of ours, we used to have around 100 people attending it. And these are all, paid events, right? So it's not even like they were free. So we knew that people were definitely interested and people were liking whatever I was doing, whatever content I was putting up. So that really boosted my confidence. Yeah, I mean, the rest is history. So that is how it all started. In about a year, we started conducting events, and now it's a private limited company. And we've got a very small team, which is, looking after content, operations, company partnerships, brand partnerships, dealings, and then there's accounting. There's so many other things involved. So everything is really being managed by that small team. And we've got really big goals. I mean, when you talk about machine learning, I think India is very underrepresented, right? And I really wanted to change that. And that's why I, named it Machine Learning India. Because I wanted to, I wanted our country to have a significant take in the global AI revolution. And that's literally one of our mission statements here. We want to build an ecosystem. I mean, when you talk about an ecosystem, it's not just limited to education or providing opportunities. It's not limited to that. You are sort of building a culture when you talk about an ecosystem. Whenever, let's say, someone is interested in machine learning, wants to explore the field, you'll not only be able to provide them good educational resources, but also take care of their hiring, their jobs, their opportunities. After that, you'll be able to, provide them a proper environment and network that they can learn from. And then, there's a lot of other research and development also when you say an ecosystem. There's just so much to it. So we are targeting little parts, everything in bits and parts right now because we are super young as a company. But we've been able to accomplish a lot, especially with respect to the sizes of our audiences. So gradually we are expanding. So this has been my journey, and this is how things are going to be. I mean, 5 years down the line, I don't know how MLI would look like, but what I can assure you guys is that it's going to be something really fascinating. Because when I look back, really, even 2 years ago, I did not know that it's going to be a private limited company or it's going to be so huge in the future. So even today, I cannot really, pen down what it would look like 2-3 years from today, 5 years from today. but I can surely ascertain that it would be something really fascinating and would really make our country proud. In just about 2 years, we had India's best companies and brands approaching us for partnerships, right from the best education players in the country to players which are in software and AI, to research institutes, to colleges. It's really fascinating, what we've been able to accomplish. And all of this happened because I refused to give up. I really persisted, okay, on what I was passionate about. Now, it was very difficult. I mean, like I said, I started this when I was in my third year, okay? And third year, mein, matlab, there's absolutely no clue you have as to what your life is going to look like, what you really want to do, what is the thing you're passionate about. I mean, engineering was literally like my backup option, but for engineering to be my backup option, I had to have a plan A, right? I mean, then engineering would be my plan B. But I never had a plan A in place, and I started thinking about it. What is it that I want to do in my life? Do I want to do a 9 to 5? Do I want to do a job? I mean, it's not like I hate 9 to 5s or anything. It's just something that I don't believe is meant for me. It could be meant for you. It could be meant for a lot of other friends of yours or a lot of other people in the world. But I thought, if I have been given these talents, why not really use them? And why not give it a shot, right? I mean, few years down the line when you have certain responsibilities coming onto you with respect to marriage, with respect to family and everything, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to have this much flexibility as much as you have right now. There will be a lot of liabilities and responsibilities on you. And then there's no escape, right? How much ever you want to, you cannot take that risk in life. You cannot leverage. So I wanted to give this a shot, and I started convincing my parents that I wanted to do business. So I come from a family in which we have lawyers, we've got doctors, we've got PhD people, we've got artists, we've got state level, sports players, but there was nobody into business, and it was really unfortunate. I mean, because of that, they were very skeptical about, letting me do something by myself right after graduation. They wanted me to take up a job, and I did not want to because I really wanted to work on things I was passionate about, even if they were paying me less. That was absolutely fine, for me at least. But they were really concerned about my future, my security, and I sort of understood the kind of place they come from, so I never blamed them or anything. What I did was, instead, I started working on how to prove to them before I graduate that I can really take care of my finances, and I can seriously bring in the same amount of money that my other counterparts, my other college fellow mates are, getting or, being placed at the same time. So that was a big challenge for me, and I started working towards it. So then we sort of entered the fourth year, and Machine Learning India started conducting online, offline paid events, and we got the company registered, and then we started doing brand collaborations, paid promotions, and just so much more. It was fascinating. I mean, that really made my parents believe that, this could be something, and she really has potential. So they started giving me that flexibility of what I wanted to do, and it worked out wonders for me. But at the same time, I was very anxious because a lot of my friends were getting placed at amazing companies. In fact, people that had lesser grades at college than me were, getting placed at good companies, were getting good packages. And somewhere down the line, I knew that I could be in their place. But I mean, there was this one voice in my, internally, it kept saying that, don't go for it, don't fall for it. Because abhi nahi to yaar kabhi karenge. So I somehow made it through, and I started working on MLI right after graduation. Started taking things very seriously. So I mean, this is how it all started. I had to convince my parents, I had to convince myself. I had to go through a lot. I had to, sort of put all my experiences together into this project and give it a shot, because I knew that this had potential, and it was already a proven concept even before I was graduating. So I was making in some good amount of money even in my fourth year. So that gave me the confidence. That gave my parents the confidence to let to let their daughter allow to take up a business or start a company or something like that. And I was really glad that I was given that opportunity. So that is how it all started. And today, like I said, we are working with some really good companies and amazing brands. So it's super exciting as to how far you can go as a person if you just decide what you want to do, and never give up on your passions. Never just do that, because from the time I was young, I remember I wasn't really interested in academics a lot, but I really wanted to rack up some real world skills. Okay, skills that were actually required in the real world, like persuasion, how to convince people, right? Or how to communicate, how to effectively put your point forward. That's extremely important, because let's say you're amazing at what you do, but if you can't convince people, or if you can't put your point forward, if you cannot really make them believe that you've got potential, then it's very difficult for you to move ahead, and you're going to be losing some amazing opportunities. So I started working on those skills, and those skills really mattered to me. I loved networking with people. I loved interacting with new people, and I loved to present whatever I was doing, which was why I started with social media in the first place, right? I mean, I could just do projects and keep it, right, in my laptop or something, but no, I mean, I just wanted to show the world that, this is something which is up and coming, and this is something you should be focusing on. AI is going to be a big thing in the future. And I was doing that back in 2015, imagine. So, and people back then, they had no clue what I was doing, because machine learning wasn't a thing for them, at least for my batchmates, which are actually studying IT with me. Machine learning is a subject we have in our final year. So they had to come to the final year to realize that there was something like machine learning, which is actually big in the industry right now. They were that disconnected with the future, I would say. So that was important to me. Like I said, real world skills, being updated about what's happening around you, and being updated about these opportunities, because to be able to bag those opportunities also, you have to be there standing at the door. Whenever that opportunity is knocking, you have to be there to open that door. You cannot be sleeping, right? Otherwise that opportunity is going to go away. So that is something which I had in me. I think I understood the value of time. I sort of understood the value of being there when the opportunity knocks on the door. So I just took it up, and I never did care about the risks involved. So that really helped me. And apart from that, I think one of the biggest contributors to your success as an entrepreneur is also determined by how well is it that you really understand other aspects of the organization, right? You cannot be just good at the technical part and not care enough about what are the other factors involved, right? You should understand your business in and out. You should, like for me, I should understand my audiences in and out. I should really understand their demography, what their inclination is, what is it that they are liking, or what kind of content do they prefer, what are the kind of events they want me to conduct, what are the different kinds of instructors they prefer at our events, or how is it that they want our networking events to be, or what are the kind of brands that want to work with me, what are their requirements, how is it that I can cater to their needs better. So you have to understand the domain in and out, right? And it all starts with just exploring and experimenting. Everything you want is actually a Google search away. So use Google to the fullest potential, I would say. So that is how it all began, and that is how I started focusing on what I really loved. I started to give it a shot, and I'm super happy with what I'm doing right now. I'm really happy, because imagine, I mean, I could be doing a job at some multinational, at some level, junior level right now, in a cubicle, not knowing how whatever work I was doing was going to impact the end user, the end client. I'm just writing a few lines of code here, doing the same thing I do every day, reporting to the same people. I could be that, but today I am here interacting with students from different colleges, different universities. I'm here, making content. You're building a team whose content is really, being looked up by 3 to 4 lakh people every single day. That is a big thing. That is something really valuable. So this is what you fight for in the end. So this is what I would say, don't give up on what you're passionate about. I was really passionate about getting my word out, about public speaking, about networking, about, building relationships with people, about building communities, getting people together, doing stuff, interacting with them, getting to know them better. And this is what I'm doing right now. This is literally my job, right? So, this is how it works out, when you do things that you really like, you never feel like you're working. And it's very true. Okay, you never feel like you're doing a job. You never feel like you're into business, into a company. You just feel like it's your daily routine. It's literally a part of you. It's a part of who you are. It's a part of your nature. And that's why things keep falling in place automatically for you. People keep complaining that I work around 12 to 13 hours a day, but honestly, पता ही नहीं चलता कि वक्त कैसे गुजर जाता है. That is how happy I am with the work I'm doing today. So this is the difference, I was invited here to, share my experiences, my journey, tell students what I've learned along the way. And I think this, I'm not sure if I've done justice to it, but I think I've shared my experience in a way which would make things very relatable for you guys. I mean, parents को convince करना, खुद का business करने की सोचना, या फिर having these entrepreneurial aspirations but having them really suppressed by your family or by the society is something a lot of people go through, especially in engineering. And engineering is in fact the sort of a plan B for most people, but they're not really sure of their plan A itself. So I think you should really contemplate, think about it, write down the things you really enjoy doing. And whatever you enjoy doing, there's really a job for that. There's really a business that would come out of it. Trust me. Trust me, that is really possible. You love traveling, you could become a travel blogger and be paid for that. And you could make as much amount by traveling, right? And you don't have to pay a single penny. Everything is being taken care of for you. So the job market is really changing a lot. There are different things coming up. You want to be someone in marketing, when you come up with really good ideas, you could be that, okay, and be paid for it. You are good at sports, you could, do that and be paid for it. So do not really leave things that you like, cling on to them and just figure out a way in which you could commercialize that. When I was just around in 11th or 12th grade, I was super great at, drawing portraits. So I thought, why not commercialize this particular art work that I do? What I thought was I would create portraits, I would frame them, and I would sell it to people. Okay, or people would submit photos to me. I would create portraits and then frame it up and then send it back to them wherever they were staying. But then there were a lot of hurdles involved, right? I mean, I did not know framing vendors. I did not know how to ship it. I did not know how to get international shipment done. I did not know where to get orders from. I did not understand digital marketing, social media marketing. And the only kind of marketing I knew was, telling friends, and then they would tell their friends. So word of mouth is the only thing that was known to me. And that was like way back when I was 16, 17 years of age. Okay. But I figured it out. I just did because I wanted to. I needed money, and I wanted to show to my family that yes, I can do it. And I honestly, I wanted to be that independent, woman. So, what I did was I figured it out. I figured out vendors. I figured out the shipment, dealers, everything. And we completed 900 orders in 2 years. That was when I was in my 12th grade and in my first year. So, that was also a business in itself. I mean, it wasn't scalable because I was really trading my time for money. The more portraits I would create, the more I would be paid for. But I wanted to trade my mind for money, right? So I sort of tried to call it off. I do take personal orders now, the ones that come from my personal networks, but as a business, I realized it was not scalable, and therefore I had to give it up after one point of time. I did not cling to it, even though I loved it as a hobby. So this understanding should also be present. You cannot be clinging to your ideas. You have to keep flirting with them. And that is how I would say. So all that experience really, culminated into MLI, because while I was, running Art Nerd, I learned the art of sales. I learned the art of communicating with people, with selling whatever I was creating. I learned, graphic designing, because I had to create posters, put it up on social media, create marketing collaterals, posters about sales, various deals, offers, discounts. And that experience really counted. I mean, I learned Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, I learned Canva and Figma and so many other tools, which I really in my life would have never learned. And that was the only reason I learned it, because I had to put really catchy posters on social media and come up with some stunning graphics. So that is how I could sell it. So I started actively working on social media, and the business really took off, especially with respect to Art Nerd. That was the title. And we, like I said, we completed around 900 orders in 2 years. And that was possible because I was able to create amazing content there. So I took that potential, that understanding of social media that I had got, and I coupled it with machine learning. Okay. And that is how Machine Learning India was born. My understanding of social media, my understanding of graphic designing, my understanding of machine learning, in the end, helped me commercialize that particular skill, and it turned out to be stunning for me. So, like I said, no experience goes waste. Like I said, before, I mean, ArtNode wasn't scalable, so it can be called a failure, but I don't think it is a failure completely, because I used that experience later in my life, and it really turned out to be very beneficial for me. So don't regret anything you do. Just give it a chance, hit the ground running. Do not care a lot of things to fall in place. You don't know finances, it's fine. You don't know, you don't have good communication skills, it's absolutely okay. You do not know how to create posters, how to sell stuff, you do not know anything about marketing, it's absolutely fine. If you all want to become entrepreneurs in the future, or any other, let's say you want to become a successful job professional in the future, all you have to do is hit the ground running. Do not wait for the right time, because that is the worst place to be in, because the traffic lights of your life are never going to be green at the same time, and stars are not going to align for you, right? At the end of the day, you have to just start. You will make a few mistakes, and it's absolutely fine. Okay, you cannot create your 50th program, you cannot write your 50th book if you don't write your first one. Okay, so that is the message I would like to give you all. Just get started, just do whatever you're passionate about. Things will fall in place eventually. That is one lesson I absolutely learned in my career. Short career, because I have only graduated last year, but I think that's extremely valuable. And I have learned to not worry about things, taking risks, and they turn out to be very fruitful and beneficial for me in the longer run. So I don't worry about a lot of things now, because I know that I used to worry about things and really nothing happened. I just overthought, and everything really fell in place eventually. There was nothing to overthink, and there was nothing to worry about. ऐसे ही राई का पहाड़ बना देते थे पहले. तो ये सब करना छोड़ दो, और focus on the real things, focus on real life skills, focus on skills that matter, because academics doesn't really cover what matters. Being good at a few technical subjects doesn't mean you're going to be very successful in life, or having a good grade in your college does not mean you'll be very successful in life. Having real life skills matter. Okay, that is the most important takeaway you could you could take away from this particular conversation. All the people, all the 40 people that are listening to me right now, take a note of it. Focus on real life skills. And how to do that is by getting started with projects. Do not keep those ideas in the back of your mind. I thought I was really good at art. The next day I was really jotting down points as to how I could really make a I came to the realization that I would have to really set up an online store for whatever I was doing. And the next day I was up on Shopify. So try to go, take these tangible steps that are going to take you closer to your goal every single day. That is extremely important. right? Because एक बार वो दिमाग में रह गया ना idea, वो कभी नहीं हो पाएगा जिंदगी में. You have to come up with something, there has to be some motivation that pushes you to do that. I mean, and if it's not there, then you're not passionate about the thing in the first place. I never needed any motivation to do whatever I'm doing right now. Every morning I used to wake up, create amazing content, put it up, interact with the community, and get the job done, right? And it never felt like work to me. So if you are really passionate about a particular idea and you see potential in it, just get started, I think. Just get started. You will figure out, you might fail. It's okay to fail. I mean, the startup would collapse or it would perform well, whatever it is. The experience is very crucial, and that is something which is going to be very valuable in the future. So these are the few learnings I had in my life, and these are the few that I could really remember, the concrete ones. But I would love to know the kind of questions you have, or if there's any struggle you're going through right now with respect to your entrepreneurial aspirations or your career aspirations, and in some or the other way, if I can help, I would love to do that. So I'm reading the messages that you all are putting up, so you all can just start doing it right away. Okay. So Roshan Kumar has asked, how did you raise funding for your startup? So the answer to that question is that I did not raise funding. I bootstrapped. Okay, there's something we call bootstrapping in a particular business. That means you're not really raising money from any external source, but you are using the business to create a certain amount of money, and that money you are reinvesting in the business again without taking a large chunk out of it for your own profit. So whatever money I made in the first few months, I reinvested that in my business to come up with better tools, use better platforms for whatever content I was creating, or just invested back in the business. Whatever events I was creating, I invested in merchandise. I gave it back to the community. We did a lot of giveaways, and honestly, the prizes went out of my own pocket. So that is what you call investing in your own business, right? So bootstrapping is something which is extremely valuable and something which you could really focus on. And at this point also, we are not really actively considering of raising money, even though we had a very open considerations. I mean, but there were companies like Analytics Vidya wanting to acquire Machine Learning India, and it's a huge thing because Analytics Vidya is such a big entity right now. So but I really wanted to bootstrap. I wanted to experiment. I wanted to really see what Machine Learning India would look like 3, 4 years, 5 years down the line. And that's why I'm not giving it up really quickly. Whatever money I am making right now, big or small, I would be reinvesting that back into my business, because right now there's not a lot of needs I have personally, or there's not a lot of money I need for my personal use, not a lot of money that my team members are needing for their personal use. So we are saving a big chunk, we are reinvesting it back into the business, and that's how we keep fueling it, right? And then from the next month, from the next quarter, we make a significant amount of increase in profits because we reinvested that amount in the first place. So that is important. Then the next question is, can you please explain about your business model that you used in your final year of engineering, right? So now, the challenge with Machine Learning India was that we had racked up a huge amount of audience online, and this audience really connected with me, right? The interaction was great. People believed in whatever I was saying. People trusted my word because they saw that I had got experience in machine learning. I had done a couple of projects, I had done a couple of internships, and everything was absolutely perfect. So they relied on my word, right? Because the content was that amazing. So I thought of, thinking of ways in which I could monetize that audience that I was building online. And this is literally the business strategy of a lot of other companies, even Analytics Vidya, for instance, okay, they also have a large number of people that are looking up to their content every single day, their blogs, their whatever they're putting up, their social media platforms. So what they do is essentially they try to monetize that audience by introducing various courses, by introducing various conferences, various paid stuff, right? So that is how you essentially monetize a particular audience, and there are various strategies for that. So in my final year, what I was doing was that we roughly had around 33,000 followers in March of 2019 when I took the call of conducting my first, offline event, which would be paid. So this was a workshop which focused on mathematics for machine learning, and I personally was the instructor. So we made a good amount of money through that particular event, and it was amazing the place we booked and the kind of experience we provided to the people. We had around 100 people joining that workshop, and everybody was like awestruck as to how amazing the workshop was, how amazing the instruction was. The ratings were super great, and we were trending on Townscript, which is a ticketing platform, for 2 to 3 days straight, as was the top event in the city. And there were so many views, but we had limited amount of tickets, because of which we couldn't really go further. But that gave me the confidence that, if this is one event I could really pull off successfully, then I could do many others like these. So every month we started, putting up 1 or 2 good events in Pune, and then we started conducting events in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Delhi, in various colleges. So it was amazing. It was beautiful, because I was getting to do things that I personally loved, and that was interacting with audiences. So it was great. So that is how I got started. I started effectively monetizing my audience, but I did not limit it to events itself. I got merchandise introduced. I also got brand collaboration and partnership started, right? Now, I am someone who is very influential in the machine learning community, because so many people look up to my content. But there are various startups and companies which are not influential, but they've got their own courses. So I started partnering with them, and I started introducing their courses to my audiences. I started taking up their courses, finding out what what quality courses they are, and whether or not the instructors are reliable. So I personally used to go through the content, and only if I liked it and found it beneficial, I used to advocate that to my audiences. So this is how a lot of deals worked out. There were percentages involved for finances, and it's working out really beautifully right now. And it is working out, and it's a very proven business concept. That is exactly why I'm being able to expand my team right now, right? So gradually, but steadily, things are falling in place, which is actually a good thing. So building an audience online is easy, but being able to monetize it is really hard. And there are different ways in which you could do it. You could have your own courses. You could have your own products and services which are ML focused. You could have your own short-term events. You could have your own merchandise. You could build a brand. You could do anything with it, right, at the end of the day. And the sheer power of MLI, I realized about a few months ago when Analytics Vidya started considering to acquire us. What could be bigger than that? It's literally the country's top, top agency, I would say, top firm, which is into data science content right now. They've got millions and millions of people that are looking up to their content every single day. And if they think that I have potential, and if my community has potential, then definitely there is potential. So these are the different ways in which you could monetize your audiences and be able to successfully make good amount of finance for yourself. So this is what I did in my final year. Could you please explain? Okay, ma'am, could you tell which portion should one focus more in starting years of college? Feature engineering on data, or model building on using machine learning algorithms? So feature engineering is something I would tell is extremely important. Modeling is not difficult at all. There are amazing libraries available. You can literally import functions, get things done, build models in about 5 lines of code, 10 lines of code. And modeling is something which is losing value in the market right now. We have got so many machine learning enthusiasts which can build models, but not much people that have got business expertise, domain level expertise, and not many people that can actually frame the business problem and come up with tangible solutions really well. So focus on data engineering, focus on feature engineering, focus on model deployment, machine learning operations. ML ops is a big thing right now. So focus on those aspects also. Those are becoming more and more valuable in the market right now. That is what I would say. Ma'am, I wanted to know the scope of machine learning and various career opportunities in it. So, Samiksha, there's a lot of scope because imagine the kind of data that we're generating on a daily basis. And imagine the amount of companies that are realizing the potential of data and just realizing how much it could be valuable to their organization. And honestly, the trend I feel in India has only begun, right? There was a lot of hype in USA back in early 2000s about machine learning. Their hype has gone down, but here in India, things reach a lot later as it is. So here in India, companies have just started to realize that, a couple of years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, but the field is gradually maturing. Like we only had popular titles like machine learning engineer or data scientist here in India about 1 or 2 years ago, but now you see the entire arena is changing. We are now value and data architects, database administrators, there are data engineers, there are data analysts, there are data visualization experts. Like the field is bifurcating into so many subdomains, and that really should really make you aware of how important everything in data is becoming, right? We are introducing new roles. Imagine we are introducing new roles to handle data. So it's extremely important. There's a lot of scope, but at the same time, I would say don't fall for the hype. Do something that you really like. You could become a great website developer, application developer, or a cybersecurity specialist. Anything you want to be in computer science or IT. But like I said, not everybody has to become a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. Do it only if you see yourself doing it 20 years down the line, because that would be a big decision. So don't fall for the hype. That's all I would say. How you made your team for company? Are they your batchmates or other professionals? How do you get in touch with them and how it all begins? So I started recruiting about a few months ago only, and I graduated about a year ago. So there was nobody from my college, although there were a couple of friends that helped me during events. They volunteered to help. But I started officially recruiting students only about a few months back. And until then, I was doing everything by myself. Like for a long amount of time, I was pulling everything by myself. But then I sort of reached a point wherein I realized that I cannot accomplish a lot of things on my own because there was a lot of load on me, and I was feeling burnt out. And I needed someone. So what I did was I tried to write down whatever I do on a daily basis. And I started deciding out of these tasks, what are the tasks that I can allocate to someone else, delegate to someone else and get it done. So I realized that, a lot of my time used to be invested in client relations, emailing, proposals, meetings. So I started to allocate that function to, I started looking for interns for those roles. And then I found out, a couple of good ones. It is all about experimentation. I knew that because the kind of role I was looking for was actually different from conventional internships. The work I do is actually a little bit different from conventional jobs, conventional businesses. So I knew it would be difficult to hire such people, and therefore I kept interns on a probation period of 1 month in which I could really test out their performance, and only if I liked it, I would continue. So I experimented with a couple of them, and then I found out 2 to 3 good people which I could really work with, and I enjoyed working with in the first place. They had vision, they had clarity, and they knew what I really wanted, and they were the kind of people that would propose solutions upfront proactively without me telling them what to do. So I love such people. They come up with ideas. So that is how I built a team. I wouldn't say we are there yet where we want to be, but we are gradually at least moving towards that place, which is a good sign. Do you not believe now everyone is going to ML? So now where will be uniqueness? Everyone is moving to ML. That's very true. Now in terms of organizations, everyone has to, because data is the new oil. And with respect to students, I think ML is very hyped in the student community. But then again, there's nothing apart from machine learning that we hear in the industry, right? Even media focuses on machine learning. GPT-3 news was all over media, all over tech media. Every advancement, every little thing in AI sensationalizes on media like anything. So, I mean, it's not the fault of students also that, there's a lot of machine learning hype. I think there's a lot of factors involved. But like I said, even though there are a lot of people taking a jump into the field, there are very few that can actually do machine learning very well or know what they're doing and talk about what they're doing in a very convincing manner. So if you are good at it, there's definitely a good amount of chances that you will end up in a good role or in a good job, because recruiters are not stupid. They really understand people in and out. So they'll really understand if you understand whatever you're talking about, if it's about machine learning. So there are ample amount of opportunities and there's a good amount of scope in the market. Okay. Web scrapping. Okay. I think you'll have to really Google that, man. Web scrapping is something I'm not very acquainted with. I've worked on NLP projects, but they did not involve web scrapping at all. So there are various cleaning techniques for NLP, right? The stemming, lemmatization, and so on and so forth. So whatever data you have right now, try to apply those methods onto that particular data. And I'm not even sure which data you have scrapped or from where. So I don't think I'll be able to provide you the right answer with limited amount of information. But like I said, you can always Google at the end of the day. How did you manage the money required to register your company, and is it advisable to register the company in the initial days of the venture? It's not advisable at all. Okay. First of all, I had no money to even get the company registered, because that involved finances of up to 15,000, I think 20,000 in the first place. So I had a bit of my savings through ArtNerd, but I really lacked 20,000. I mean, why would a student have 20,000, and why would I ask my parents 20,000 in the first place? So what I did was, like I said, in the first event itself, when we had our first event, we started the ticketing platform about 2 months prior to the actual workshop. We knew that it's going to take time for people to register and to buy tickets and everything. We had an audience in place. We knew where to target our marketing efforts, and essentially we knew that all tickets would go out because we had a huge audience. So what we did was we released the tickets around 2 months prior, and then people started buying in, and all the tickets went out in just about 20 days. So all that money was deposited to me, I mean, in the account details that I mentioned on that particular platform. And I used that money to get my company registered. And I really had to do that because I knew that, whenever you're conducting an event, you're issuing certificates. It's important for you to have a legal entity that is backing the certificate, right? You cannot be issuing certificates in thin air. So I used that money to get the company registered, and then after a month, when all the legal stuff had ended, that is when we got the workshop conducted, and it was a successful one. So literally, I mean, out of my first event, the money that I got, the first few thousands, that is the money I invested in registering my company. But like I said, initially it's not advisable. I personally had to do it because I had to issue certificates, right? My business model demanded me to really go ahead and register the company. But let's say if you are someone and you are not issuing any certificates, or there's no product, or I mean, there's nothing that is legally binding on you at that particular moment. You could conduct small transactions, small sales, and just check how things are working. Like with ArtNerd also, I did not get the company registered. Okay. I practiced ArtNerd for about 2 years. Okay. I ran that business for 2 years, but I did not get the company registered. I ran it as a sole proprietor. And for a sole proprietor, you don't have to get any registration done. There are certain legalities which you have to complete, like the Shop Act and everything. But I think with proper consultation with a proper CA or a financial planner, I think they'll be able to give you proper information. But at least for the first 6 months, until and unless you've gotten a good proof that the business is actually working, there's absolutely no need to get your company registered or to invest any amount of money right there. Social innovation initiatives through AI and machine learning. Example, one of my initiatives is help people from India, USA, Nigeria, Dubai, extra edge over competitors. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, AI and machine learning is being used in very diverse ways, nowadays. So apart from healthcare, finance, marketing, insurance, all these usual business categories, we are now moving towards using AI to solve public issues for real. And there's a lot of scope, AI for social innovation. There's a huge dearth in the market right now of companies that are focusing on that particular thing. I think companies don't go that way because it's not very profitable at the end of the day. It's very difficult to come up with a business model that is sustainable and which involves you using AI or machine learning or like cutting edge technology for the benefit of a large amount of people. And when you know that you're only going to make a very small margin of profit for per person, or let's say whatever your pricing strategy is. So that is why companies really don't jump into it. Now for companies like Google and Amazon, it's really easy. They make billions of dollars yearly. So it's not really a big deal for them. But for Indian companies, I think they're mostly focusing on business impact. They're mostly focusing on filling their own pockets, which is fine. I mean, it's okay on their part. They have to run corporations altogether. They have to feed their employees and everything. So it's fine. But this has resulted into a huge gap in the market with respect to using AI for social innovation. So if you could come up with something like that, it would really be very fascinating. And if you be able to commercialize that very well, it could be more worth than anything else, I think. It would be really something amazing. Are you hiring for any roles now as a volunteer or writer or something? Yeah, we are hiring for a technical content creator. Okay, we are looking forward to someone that can create amazing content. Now, I think the links to my particular social media handles have already been sent on the messaging details, but you could just go up there, you could just check the kind of content we're creating, and you could just tell me if you can do that, or if you could really contribute in some or the other way. You can reach out to me on that handle at ml.india, or you could reach out to me on LinkedIn, Priyanka Kasture, or you could reach out to me on my own Instagram at priyanka.kasture. So anyhow, I mean, just go through it and let me know. Why is explainable AI not more mainstream? I see a need for it, and I write about it too. Why don't people focus on it more? Explainable AI is becoming a big thing. Yes, it is true. But what you really need to understand here is large corporations here in India, mid-scale and large scale, they are they're not using a lot of deep learning in the first place. So the kind of models they are using right from the beginning are explainable, like let's say random forests or decision trees or logistic regression or support vector machines. Now we have really logical explanations to how these models work. Only when deep learning comes into the picture, that is when you have to worry about what's really happening internally, because you really don't know. It's a gigantic model, and they're all weights and connections at the end of the day. There's nothing you could really make out of it. I mean, how is it that you're arriving from point B, from point A to point B? How is it that it's happening? There's no explainability. But back in US, I mean, it's a big thing, because there you see a lot of startups, a lot of mid-scale and large-scale companies focusing on deep learning-based solutions. Here in India, most of our data is actually stored in a tabular format. And I don't think, I mean, a lot of problems are actually solvable by simple statistical techniques and predictive modeling. You don't really have to use deep learning unless and until you're dealing with voice data or computer vision data, visual information, so on and so forth. So all that is in tabular format, have or a part of these legacy code systems that these companies have built 20 years, 15 years ago in Java or in some other old programming language. I think these have stored data in structured relational databases. So we do not need these learning systems to process that kind of data. We can, have a good take on them with the help of simple statistical techniques. So yeah, this is why. This is exactly why explainable AI is not a big thing, because large organizations have not adopted it in the first place. I think we've ended, and all the questions have been answered. So I think I'd like to thank everyone for being here and for giving me this opportunity to come and interact with you guys. It's an amazing session. Like I said, I love interacting with students and I had fun. And thank you for being very active and showing active participation in the comments. I think I love that. So really, thank you. It was a privilege.
Thank you, ma'am, for this amazing session, and I hope all of us have liked it, and like we have got more insights about the machine learning, or rather how to kickstart a career in machine learning. So thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.